61 million people. According to the United Nations, that is the staggering number of Europeans currently living outside their birth countries. But behind this figure lies an extraordinary divide. In some nations, the population is vanishing, while in others, almost nobody leaves. Based on official UN and Eurostat metrics, today we rank the 5 European countries people flee the most, and the 5 where they stay. We won't just look at the numbers. We'll uncover the hidden historical, economic and legal forces driving these exits, where immigrants actually move, and at the end, how this map completely changes if we look only at the European Union. Welcome to Amazing Europe. Number 5, among the worst, Ukraine. Imagine losing a quarter of your nation's entire workforce before a single factory even opens its doors. That is the reality for Ukraine, a country shaped by decades of economic shock waves and sudden legislative shifts. Long before recent conflict, post-Soviet industrial restructuring in the 1990s triggered a massive outward wave of skilled workers seeking higher wages. The biggest legislative turning point came in 2017 when the European Union granted Ukrainians visa-free travel. This legal change instantly transformed temporary seasonal work into permanent residency across neighboring member states. According to UN data from 2024, an overwhelming 26.4% of native-born Ukrainians were living outside their homeland. That meant 9.77 million citizens living abroad out of a total population of 37 million. However, official updates from UNHCR and Eurostat confirm that real-time numbers are even higher. By mid-2026, over 4.38 million Ukrainians are registered under EU temporary protection alone, pushing the true immigration rate well past 28%. So, where are they going? The primary destinations are Germany, hosting nearly 1.3 million Ukrainians, followed closely by Poland and Czechia. In Poland and Czechia, Ukrainian workers are heavily concentrated in manufacturing, construction and logistics, while in Germany, employment is centered in healthcare, IT and services. This migration gives local industries a massive workforce boost, but it also pushes housing, schools and public services to their limits. For Ukraine itself, the result is an unprecedented brain drain, leaving domestic industries struggling for skilled personnel while relying heavily on foreign aid and remittances. Number 5 among the best, Spain. Spain presents a unique dual paradox. While it exports a highly visible wave of university graduates, its general population almost never leaves. Spain produces world-class doctors and engineers, yet its economy remains heavily reliant on tourism and seasonal services. This creates a targeted, selective brain drain, forcing specialized professionals to seek research careers in Germany or Northern Europe. But when you step outside this academic tier, the national picture changes completely. According to official UN and Eurostat baseline data, a remarkably low 3.3% of native-born Spaniards currently live outside their homeland. That equals roughly 1.62 million native-born immigrants out of a total population of 48.6 million, one of the lowest overall immigration rates in Europe. So why does the general population stay anchored despite moderate wages? The secret lies in Spain's powerful social armor. First, an informal safety net, known as familismo, cushions economic shocks, with extended families providing housing and financial support well into adulthood. Second, mid-20th century state policies built a home ownership rate exceeding 75%, insulating millions from high monthly rent pressures. Legislatively, the landmark 2022 labor reform restricted temporary hiring, forcing employers to offer permanent contracts and providing baseline job security. Combined with universal health care and strong cultural ties, the average citizen prioritizes lifestyle stability over foreign paychecks. Spain may face a selective loss of specialized talent, but its deeply rooted social fabric prevents a mass population exodus. Number 4 among the worst, Moldova. When a nation exports more of its working citizens than its industrial goods, its entire economic backbone shifts. Moldova, historically one of Europe's poorest nations, has faced relentless economic headwinds since the collapse of the Soviet Union. The sudden loss of agricultural markets and industrial supply chains in the 1990s left the country struggling with hyperinflation and low wages. According to official UN baseline data covering the entire territory, an astounding 28.5% of native-born Moldovans now live abroad. That represents over 864,000 citizens residing outside the country out of a total population of 3.03 million. The primary legislative accelerator of this exodus is Romania's citizenship policy. Under Romanian law, any Moldovan whose parents or grandparents lived on Moldovan territory when it was part of Romania before the 1940 Soviet annexation can easily reclaim Romanian citizenship. Over 1 million Moldovans, more than a third of the population, have acquired Romanian passports, instantly granting them full freedom of movement and work rights across the European Union. Where do they go? Italy and Russia are the top historical destinations, alongside Romania and Germany. In Italy and Western Europe, Moldovan workers are heavily employed in home caregiving, construction and agriculture. This migration expands the essential care and service workforce in Western European nations, but it adds competition for local housing. For Moldova, the consequence is an extreme demographic squeeze, a rapidly aging resident population reliant on foreign remittances, which World Bank data shows account for nearly 13% of the country's total GDP to sustain domestic consumption. Number 4 among the best, Finland. High taxes and brutal Nordic winters should logically drive people away. Yet Finland manages to retain almost its entire native-born population. How does a nation sitting on the freezing edge of Northern Europe keep its citizens from packing their bags? The answer lies in the psychological and financial contract built between the Finnish state and its people. Decades of post-war social planning created one of the most comprehensive welfare systems in human history, managed by the national agency 𝐘ELA. According to official UN and Eurostat baseline data, a tiny 3.2% of native-born Finns live outside their country. That represents just 181,000 immigrants out of a total population of 5.6 million, a rate that makes Finland a global leader in population retention. Finns stay because their quality of life is insulated against market volatility. Free tuition from elementary school through doctoral degrees guarantees equal access to higher education. Legislatively, strong collective bargaining agreements enforce fair pay floors and strict work-life balance standards, including extensive paid parental leave. Furthermore, Finland consistently ranks among the highest globally for institutional trust, with citizens viewing high income taxes as a fair subscription fee for functioning public services, pristine nature, and low crime. While a small number of Finnish professionals move to Sweden or the UK for international experience, the vast majority return home. Finland proves that when a government delivers security, institutional trust, and high-quality public goods, citizens simply have no compelling economic reason to leave. Number 3 among the worst, North Macedonia. Decades of political deadlock can empty a nation faster than an economic crash. North Macedonia stands as a stark example of how blocked diplomatic paths and structural stagnation push citizens beyond their borders. Following the collapse of Yugoslavia, the country faced painful transition years, further complicated by decades of EU accession delays and diplomatic vetoes from neighboring member states. According to official UN baseline data, a staggering 29.2% of native-born North Macedonians now live abroad. That represents over 534,000 native-born immigrants out of a resident population of just 1.83 million. The true figure may be even higher due to unregistered departures. A major legislative driver behind this exodus is the Bulgarian passport mechanism. To bypass EU visa restrictions, tens of thousands of Macedonian citizens claimed ethnic Bulgarian ancestry to acquire Bulgarian passports, instantly granting them full EU working rights. Combined with low domestic wages averaging under €600 per month, skilled and unskilled workers alike fled toward Western Europe. Where do they head? The top destinations are Germany, Switzerland, and Italy. In Germany and Switzerland, Macedonian workers are heavily concentrated in construction, transport logistics, and manufacturing. This influx expands the industrial workforce in German-speaking economies, but it also increases demand for local housing and public infrastructure. For North Macedonia, the consequences are profound: rapid aging, empty rural villages, and an economy heavily reliant on remittances sent home from abroad. Number 3, among the best, Norway. Imagine living in a country where every single citizen is backed by a multi-trillion-dollar national reserve fund. That financial cushion is the reality for Norway. Norway's modern story began in 1969 with the discovery of massive oil reserves in the North Sea. But instead of short-term spending, Norwegian lawmakers passed visionary legislation to create the government pension fund global. Today, this sovereign fund holds over $2 trillion, serving as a perpetual shield for the welfare state. According to official UN and Eurostat baseline data, an astonishingly low 2.2% of native-born Norwegians live outside their homeland. That equals roughly 121,000 immigrants, out of a population of 5.55 million, one of the lowest figures anywhere on Earth. So why do Norwegians almost never immigrate? The secret lies in extraordinary domestic wage floors and strict labor legislation. Under Norway's Working Environment Act, employment rights are among the strongest in the world, guaranteeing comprehensive sick leave, parental benefits, and high baseline pay across all industries. Additionally, nearly 30% of the entire labor force works directly in the public sector, providing recession-proof career stability. While a minor percentage of young Norwegians temporarily study in the United Kingdom or neighbouring Sweden, virtually all return to enter the local market. Backed by immense sovereign wealth, high institutional trust, and unmatched social security, Norwegian citizens simply have no economic incentive to seek a life anywhere else. Number 2 among the worst, Albania. More than half of an entire nation now lives outside its own borders. That shocking reality makes Albania one of the most extreme demographic cases in modern history. Decades of total communist isolation strictly forbade citizens from leaving. When the regime collapsed in 1991, decades of repressed migration exploded overnight. This trauma deepened in 1997 when fraudulent investment schemes collapsed nationwide. Two-thirds of the population lost their life savings overnight, triggering civil chaos and forcing another massive wave of citizens to flee. According to official UN baseline data cross-referenced with Albania's national census, a staggering 50.7% of native-born Albanians live abroad. That means over 1.21 million native citizens reside overseas, compared to a domestic resident population of just 2.4 million. A critical legislative catalyst came in 2010 when the European Union granted Albanians visa-free travel within the Schengen zone. This legal mobility, combined with persistent domestic wage disparities, made moving abroad remarkably accessible for young workers seeking financial security. Where do they move? The primary destinations are Italy, Greece, and the United Kingdom. In Italy and Greece, Albanian workers are heavily concentrated in construction, agriculture, and hospitality, expanding the available industrial and service workforce. In recent years, migration to the UK expanded into logistics and trades. While this exodus injects substantial foreign remittances back into Albania, it leaves the home country facing acute shortages of medical staff, skilled tradesmen, and young families. Number 2 among the best, Sweden. When a country guarantees 480 days of paid parental leave and world-class purchasing power, leaving becomes almost unthinkable. Sweden built its modern prosperity on high-tech innovation and a legendary social model known as 𝐓𝐡𝐞, the people's home. This post-war compromise created a unique economic ecosystem where global titans like Spotify, Volvo, and Ericsson generate high-paying domestic tech and engineering careers. According to official UN and Eurostat baseline data, a remarkably low 2.1% of native-born Swedes live outside their homeland. That equals roughly 223,000 native-born immigrants, out of a total population of 10.55 million, one of the lowest departure rates in all of Europe. Why do Swedes overwhelmingly stay put? The answer lies in legislative stability and work-life balance. Under Sweden's Employment Protection Act, known as LAS, workers enjoy exceptional job security and strong union-backed collective agreements. Subsidized universal childcare, free higher education, and extensive paid parental leave insulate young families from financial stress. Even high-income taxes are broadly accepted because they fund seamless public infrastructure, public safety, and high social trust. While a small number of Swedes relocate to Spain for retirement or London for corporate finance, the vast majority stay or return home to start families. Sweden demonstrates that when a nation balances global tech innovation with unmatched worker protection, its citizens see no compelling economic reason to leave. Number 1 among the worst: Bosnia and Herzegovina. At the absolute top of Europe's departure list stands a country where more citizens live outside its borders than within them. The story of Bosnia and Herzegovina is defined by historical trauma and systemic political deadlock. The devastating 1992 conflict initially displaced over 1 million refugees. But the 1995 Dayton Peace Accords established an extraordinarily complex governance structure. Divided into multiple autonomous entities, cantons, and dozens of ministries, the resulting bureaucratic gridlock fostered rampant corruption and economic stagnation. According to official UN baseline data, a mind-boggling 50.9% of native-born Bosnians live outside their homeland. That represents over 1.6 million native citizens living abroad out of a domestic population of roughly 3.16 million, the highest emigration rate on the European continent. A massive legislative accelerator is Germany's Western Balkans regulation. Introduced in late 2015 to replace illegal asylum requests with a legal labor pipeline, this law allows Bosnian citizens with a German job offer to get work visas without formal degree recognition. Furthermore, many Bosnian Croats hold Croatian passports, granting them instant European Union citizenship and free movement. Where do they move? The primary destinations are Germany, Austria and Slovenia, where Bosnian workers are heavily concentrated in healthcare, construction and transport logistics. For Bosnia itself, this exodus causes severe domestic shortages of medical doctors, bus drivers and skilled tradesmen, leaving the country heavily dependent on foreign remittances sent home by its massive global diaspora. Before we reveal the absolute number 1 nation and see how this entire ranking shifts if we look strictly at European Union member states. If you are finding this breakdown valuable, please support our project by dropping a like, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you never miss our new videos. And if you want us to cover the other side of this story, type the word Europe in the comments below, and we will create a dedicated video ranking every European country by its immigration rate. Number 1 among the best: Denmark. Imagine a system where university students are paid by the state to earn their degrees, and losing your job comes with a comprehensive income safety net. That is Denmark. Holding the crown as the European country where citizens stay home the most, Denmark built its stability on a unique labor model known as flexicurity. This legislative balance allows companies to easily hire and fire workers as the market changes, while the state steps in to guarantee generous unemployment pay and free job retraining so workers never face economic ruin. According to official UN and Eurostat baseline data, a tiny 2.1% of native-born Danes live outside their homeland. That represents roughly 125,000 native immigrants out of a total population of 5.96 million, while both Denmark and Sweden round to an identical 2.1%. Exact unrounded figures give Denmark the undisputed top spot at 2.09%, compared to Sweden's 2.12%. So, why do Danes virtually never leave? A primary factor is Denmark's educational financial support system. Under Danish law, higher education is completely free, and every eligible student receives a monthly state grant to cover living costs, eliminating student debt. Furthermore, Denmark enforces a standard 37-hour work week, strong collective bargaining agreements, and heavily subsidized universal childcare. While some Danish professionals temporarily work in London, New York, or neighboring Scandinavian capitals, almost all return to raise their families. Denmark proves that when a society minimizes financial anxiety and maximizes trust, its citizens simply have no desire to live anywhere else. So, how would this ranking look if we strictly considered European Union member states? The Netherlands would claim the 5th spot among the nations where citizens stay home the most, with a remarkably low immigration rate of just 3.5%. It is easy to understand why, given the country's booming technology sector, exceptionally high purchasing power, and robust social welfare state that keep young Dutch professionals anchored at home. On the flip side, the list of the 5 worst EU nations becomes deeply revealing. Lithuania, Portugal, Bulgaria, Croatia, and above all, Romania, where nearly a quarter of all native-born citizens currently live abroad. What do these 5 nations share? Beyond lower domestic wages, they all experienced the massive transformative impact of Article 45 of the EU Treaty, which guarantees complete freedom of movement for workers. When these lower-wage peripheral states joined the single market, legal migration barriers vanished overnight. Workers could instantly enter Western Europe's highest-paying labour markets without visas or work permits. While this freedom created unprecedented earning opportunities for millions, it came at a cost. Intense domestic brain drains and fast-moving population aging, particularly in Eastern and Southern Europe. Remember, if you want the complete ranking of European countries by immigration rate, type the word Europe in the comments below. If you found this breakdown valuable, check out the video on the right, where we ranked every European country by median income. It will give you an even clearer picture of why some Europeans leave while others stay. That's all for today. See you next time.